Welcome to another episode about chatting about Fairmont. I'm Mom.
And I'm Brandon.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for joining.
Yes, and it has been an exciting week for the Duprees, Brandon.
Yes, it has.
It sure has. And we're going to talk specifically about Nicole and Ted's wedding anniversary and the ramifications of that particular party. I will say that I have been thoroughly enjoying these last few episodes. And for day of taping, it's on May 13th of 2025. All right, ready?
I'm ready.
All righty. So first of all, the episode generally is about this party is about, of course, the anniversary of Nicole and Ted. And Eva actually planned most of the anniversary, and of course, everyone was in attendance, meaning that all of Ted's and Nicole's children, her parents. I mean, everyone that's important to Nicole is at this particular event, along with most of the city or town or whatever it is. And so during this event, Miss Dana or Miss Dama, Miss Leslie, Miss whatever she's calling herself, decided to tell the world that Ted was the father of Eva, and that Mr. Ted had an affair with Leslie or Dana or Anna or whatever she's calling herself. She had that she had an affair with him over 20 years ago, and that Eva is his daughter. So that, in essence, is the big secret that came out during this party. However, the ramifications of this was just kind of there's a lot of ramifications from hearing this information. First of all, knowing this actually destroys the marriage of Nicole and Ted. Nicole and Ted were the idyllic couple, and so to hear this destroys Nicole. She's not at this point in time. She's not able to cope as well. She's coping better than her sister, but in regards to she's not going after someone, but Nicole is not coping very well hearing this. Along with Ted's children, Kat and Martin, I thought Martin had a realistic um, reaction to hearing it. And Kat, of course, is the one who did not believe Eva when Eva first came on the show. Well, when Eva first entered the storyline. And so it was, I like to see that everyone recognized that Kat actually knew things or had a sixth sense about what was going on. Brandon, what were your initial thoughts?
I mean, there was so much that was going on with that event, and I liked that they essentially dedicated like an episode and a half to it. That it wasn't just we're going to draw this out for a week or have it as one of the mini storylines, but everything really correlated with it directly or indirectly. And I like the center of attention that Leslie was able to get and all the different interactions like wait, we know that person or we saw that person before, and how it all came out.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that you brought up that I really like that I have not seen another soap opera do very well is that they had every storyline focused on this one. In General Hospital, we talk about Sam and how when she passed away, they did have storylines that related just to her. But in this instant, every storyline was related back to Ted and Nicole. And it was not just one day where they had this happen, it was multiple days. And so even when they showed the secondary characters, somehow the secondary characters blended into this scene, even though they weren't there present at the event itself. In particular, I'm thinking about Vanessa and Doug. Vanessa was in the hospital, and she was keeping tabs of what was going on. And so I just thought they did a really nice job of bringing everyone together. Um, let's see, the Dupree family. What I find really interesting about the Dupree family with the Richardson family is that even though this is Ted's daughter, this this girl is not a Dupree. And so, not a Dupree at all. And I think it's really interesting that they keep talking about the Dupree family and how she's going to be ashamed for it when she is no relation to this family. And the only relation she really has is to her brother and sister, which would be Martin and Kat, and then of course to Andre. Um, I like the scene that Andre had with her because Andre did come in and mention that they were cousins, and because they had this weird, odd sort of look, gooey eyed look that they had given each other, previously, and even though Eva knew that they were cousins, um, Eva, he did sit down with her and he's like, "So we're cousins, I believe." And so I think that that's a relationship that they will kind of take forward later because I think that besides Ted, this is the one who's going to accept her first, is going to be Andre. Um, I think Kat, believe it or not, is going to be next. Even though she does not like this girl, I kind of think that Kat will later kind of, I don't want to say take her in, but tolerate her a little bit more. But at least that's just my take initially. Brandon, what is your thoughts about the relationships between her brother and sister?
Yeah, I think we were able to see it a little bit in today's episode with the May 13th episode, where Martin and Eva were able to have a chat after everyone witnessed Leslie more or less disowning her daughter in public. And I definitely want us to highlight a little bit as to Leslie a little bit later. But we see that Martin kind of feels bad for her, but doesn't quite want to embrace her, because obviously he's trying to be close to his mom, and that his mom doesn't really, she's not really in a place to sort of think about that right now. But we see them slowly warming up. But I do agree that I think it will be Kat that ultimately does accept her first. It's just maybe it will just be like a frenemy relationship for a while.
Yeah, I think so too. Um, let's talk about Leslie because Leslie's crazy, or Dana, or whatever she's calling herself. She's just crazy, and I will say that I am really shocked at how she's treating her. I mean, I knew that she was not going to be happy with her. I just didn't think she would disown her. Did you think that she was going to disown her?
Sort of, but not in public. I mean, while she may be crazy and very disillusioned, I didn't really think that she was stupid per se, in the sense that uh, for these past few episodes, that she would plead with somebody about something, speaking about her real feelings, which feel like closer to the truth, but then she will immediately do something to the contrary, but with witnesses. So in today's episode, we see that she's trying to make amends with Mona, trying to make amends with the mom of,
Of Ashley's mom.
yeah, Ashley's mom, and then while they're still at the restaurant, going a whole rant and disown Eva while everyone can still hear. And so I don't know. To me, that didn't seem like in character for her, in the sense that it did, but it didn't. We definitely know that she's unhinged, but I don't know. I thought she wouldn't do that with witnesses.
Yeah, so I don't know where they're leading with the storyline because she keeps saying she has more secrets and it makes you wonder what else she knows. We do have this blood test or DNA test to show that they're related. They're meaning Ted and Eva, but they're showing this so often, it makes you wonder what else is going on with this blood work or this DNA test that they did take. Um, and so I don't know what's going to come of that a little later. Um, one of the and then one of the scenes that I thought was very touching had to do with after everyone kind of left the restaurant. This is the day of the anniversary. At the end of that particular episode, and it may have been 2 or 3 days in, we had Anita singing Amazing Grace. And at first, when I heard it, I said, okay. But they sang all the lyrics to it. And I thought they did an amazing job blending everything together. And I thought the most emotional part was was what happened with Eva when she was at her mom's house and her mom had locked her out. and as she's screaming "Mama," and then you hear "Amazing Grace" in the background. I just thought they did a great job of including that, and then at the end how the curtains close, as in to show this is, you know, this is either the end of the scene or they're showing this is the beginning in regards to now everything changes at this point. Your thoughts about the Amazing Grace song?
Yeah, well, I certainly have thought about that, and then comment to what you were just saying about the end of the beginning. But for the Amazing Grace, I definitely at first thought it sort of came out of nowhere because we saw her sitting at the piano, but the piano itself was out of shot. So they're in the middle of a emotional, intense conversation. Then all of a sudden, we just hear singing and music, and we're like, what's going on? But I love the sequence that they had with it. I thought it was very appropriate for what was going on, and I don't know. I felt like it was a nice transition for going from one thing to the next. And there's only one other time I believe that the show did something similar to this, and that was with Vernon giving a speech, I believe, or practice for a speech several weeks ago, where we saw different scenes going over about, I believe it was about the adversity of the Duprees. So I wonder if there's something we can expect on the show going forward, that after these major arcs conclude, that we have some sort of transition to show us like this is where we are now, this is what we're focusing on next.
Yeah, and that might be the signature thing for this particular soap opera. But I just thought they did an amazing job with it. And so kudos to them for actually including that and actually making it all make sense and work together for the show itself. All right, Brandon, is there anything else you want to talk about in regards to the storyline?
Well, I will say that there was one scene that I was looking forward to, but unfortunately the scene itself was preempted, so we never really saw it.
Yes, go ahead. Tell the audience what you were looking forward to, and just so people know, it was only preempted in our area because of weather.
Well, actually, this one was preempted for the new Pope.
Oh, I'm sorry. We've been preempted several times for the weather, so I forgot about. But go ahead, Brandon.
But yeah, so the scene that we were looking forward to, and I think would have been an interesting one, is with Eva and Nicole being back together as Eva was collecting her stuff, because we never really saw what Nicole thinks of Eva. Because I don't, at least in my thought, is after this all calms down, I don't think Nicole per se has true resentment towards Eva. But in the same regard that she symbolizes the breakup of them, even if it's just temporary. But so I'm intrigued to see what that's going to entail going forward, because it did seem like she liked Eva as assistant prior to all of this happening, and that they saw that she made that effort. But I feel that it will take Nicole seeing Eva and Leslie together, similar to what everyone saw at Orphe Jeans in today's episode saw, in order for that to happen.
Yeah, and I am so sorry we missed that storyline. We did. We both kind of looked at each other once we realized what we were missing or what we thought we were going to miss. And so I really wish we had actually seen that scene of them being together. Um, but yeah, I am looking forward to seeing how this kind of goes forward now. Now that we've already laid the groundwork for this. All right, so I don't know if any of you guys caught this or not. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you did. But there was a conversation that Nicole had with a gentleman at her party. It was a very brief conversation. And she mentioned that she had not seen this gentleman in years and years. But while she was talking about him, she made there has been allusion to the fact that, or they've talked about it, meaning that Ted and Nicole, that she had fertility problems with having Kat, and so fertility problems getting pregnant, and then she happened to get pregnant with Kat about the same time that Eva came along. But anyway, this gentleman kind of came out of nowhere, and it makes me wonder if this gentleman will come back later with, and whether or not it will be a new love interest for Nicole, or maybe Nicole has a little secret past in regard to and I could be speaking out of turn, but perhaps even to who the father of Kat is. I mean, what if Ted's not the father? Who knows? So, that's just me predicting and guessing as into what they're trying to do. But I do know in soap opera lands that typically one-liners don't come in for no reason. There tends to be reasons for the one-liners that they give. Um, so let us know in the comments what your thoughts are in general about the storyline. Did you like it as well as we did? Did you think it was as well developed? We sure thought it was really well developed. All right, Brandon, before we wrap up, anything else?
Well, I did want to briefly comment on what you were just saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely do think that that gentleman will come back, but I don't think that it is a part of a nefarious plot or whatever on Nicole per se, in the sense that like she cheated on someone and had a kid with someone else, at least not intentionally. Now, could they come back and say that, for instance, maybe she had a like a surrogate for a cat or had something like IVF? I think that might actually be an interesting storyline if they were to go that route, because they never confirmed or denied any of that other than fertility issues. But that being said, I don't think that she would have per se cheated, at least not knowingly. But I think the drama will actually come from something in her work.
Yeah, that could be true too. There could be drama coming from her work also. And so I think, like I said, I'm really enjoying the storyline and I kind of can't wait to see how they proceed with it and to see if they actually have, let's see if they let Ted actually stay, I don't want to say stay awake, but if the Nicole Ted storyline actually does end, or if they will eventually be back together again. So that'll be something to watch. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, and speaking of Ted, will we? How long will we continue to have the same Ted?
Yeah, I think they're hinting that at the end of this week or beginning of next week that Ted should change to new Ted. So we'll have something to talk about when we come back in a week or so to talk, or I should say about 2 weeks when we come to talk about Beyond the Gates again. All right, guys. Oh, go ahead, Brand.
Yeah, and I'll just say this last thing too, since we were mentioning earlier about beginnings and ends, and I think that in what you were saying about that curtain closing of that being like an end of one chapter, beginning of the next one, I think that that would actually be genius in the sense of if this is sort of the true start of some of these plots, in the sense that we start off the series with Danny and her marital issues, but we're now able to see her using that guidance for Nicole. And so I would actually like to see the show surprise us in having used everything we've seen thus far as more so as a launching point for this, because we're able to see what Danny is capable of, and that we didn't know Bill, for instance, before the show started. But we've known Ted for these couple months and now realize that he was in even bigger issues than we had ever thought. And that something we didn't even mention is that he used Bill as his lawyer.
Yeah, he did use Bill as his lawyer, and so it'll be interesting to see later what they do with Bill in regards to just the storyline plot purposes of this. They've already talked about well, I should say that Bill and Ted have already spoken together, and Bill and Ted recognize what they did or did not do wrong in regards to this. So it'll be interesting to see if the Dupree family bring this back up again. We already know that his daughters are not that happy with him again. Actually, and that was kind of an amusing scene when he's got the text messages from his daughter while all this was happening. Um, but yes, and what else has Bill done with the family? We already know that he's done something for Martin, whatever that is. They have, whatever Martin's secret is, which is, I'm sure, the next secret that may come out later. They're already started, building on that. Something else that I want to mention real quick right before I let you guys go is Andre, and the fact that Andre knew about the secret and that they did go ahead and let that come out. I didn't. I kind of thought they let that go on for a while and not tell Nicole that Andre knew, but Andre point blank just told Nicole that he knew about this, and then he never said when he spoke with her how long that he knew. But I noticed that today's episode that she mentioned it, and she mentioned that he'd only known for a little bit. So I don't know if they just kind of, if for storyline purposes, they forgot that he never told. But anyway, it came out today that Nicole did mention that Andre knew, but Andre only knew for a little bit. What's important about that is that Danny heard that. And we all know that Danny's kind of having an affair with Andre, so that should be a storyline coming up too. But anyway, we thank all of you guys for joining us today, and we look forward to speaking with you next time. Have a great day, everybody.
And we'll see you in number 7.
All right, bye bye.